Good afternoon. This is Tom Alexander. This is Sunday, July 3rd. This is the weekend update that accompanies the weekend report. If you're not getting that report and you would like to receive it, please send me an email to tom@alexandertrading.com and I'll put you on the list. Also, do me a huge favor. If you find value in this report, please like it. It helps me with the Google, YouTube algorithms and all that stuff. You can also click the notification bell and you will be notified when I post something new. And I may be posting something intra-week because we're coming up into an interesting time frame. Now, one of the mistakes that retail traders typically make is that they feel like there's something out there that can tell them what to do every day, and that every single day is tradable. Every single situation like we're in now is tradable. And there's something out there that can tell them, okay, on Tuesday, I know this is what I'm going to do. Well, that's not the way it works. Let me show my screen here. So there's some important points here. And I think that the next few weeks actually could be quite exciting. But the indices are between important pivots. They're between the most recent important low and then this pivot high. Now, Friday's trade would go on the bullish side of the ledger because it closed a wide range day that closed near its high. However, it was a pre-3-day long weekend. We have a long weekend in the US for those of you that may be overseas. There's no cash trading on Monday. Actually, Globex begins trading tonight. It will trade through, I think, noon Eastern time tomorrow, but there's no cash trade. I don't trust what happens in Globex until I see it confirmed in cash, by the way. Now, it can give us a hint, but you know, you've got to really follow the cash market. So these are the futures markets. This is where the markets closed on Friday, and we're in the middle of nowhere. We're below the upper critical area. We're above the lower critical level. Now, it's pretty simple. If all four of the indices close above last week's highs, that's probably very bullish in the at least short term. If all four of the indices close below recent lows, that's immediately bearish to one degree or another. And how bearish will depend on how those levels are reached and what is happening immediately following that event. But if the indices close below last week's lows, it's very negative, potentially very negative. Now, there seem to be a lot of people calling for a bottom in here. I don't know. I don't consider myself a market caller. I follow the market. I follow the path of development, the probable path of development based on auction market principles. Right now, where we are, it's really sort of a coin flip. The inflection points are the upper extremes you see and the lower extremes you see. The market is likely to move sharply away from either the upper extreme or the lower extreme. Now, one thing I want to point out, or another thing I want to point out, if I can find it, and I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go to the daily cash chart. So I'm going to make them a weekly chart. And I want to point out, and this is something I have been pointing out all year long, you have to respect levels. You know, this was a level, and I talked about it way before we broke it here. I continue to talk about it as we approached it again. Then I talked about this level. Levels are important. And there is nothing below the recent lows in the indices except basically an elevator shaft. It's sort of an air pocket because this was so, the ramp off the 2020 low was so extraordinarily vertical that the range back to the downside is sort of this giant air pocket. Now, certainly no one, including myself, would expect this market to just trade at the same rate of change from the high all the way down to this low. So it's reasonable from an auction market perspective to be looking for more horizontal development than we've had. But you want to be careful because if we make new lows in all four of the indices, closing lows below the recent lows, you've got to have confirmation that that low is in place. You've got to have a previous day's high by all four of the indices taken out before you can get bullish. So the best advice any trader can have now is if you have to trade here, it's probably going to be noisy. The best trade in my mind is going to come when we reach this upper key reference area or this lower key reference area, whether it's long or short. But you'll certainly have a defined situation from these areas. Right now, again, it's a coin flip which way these things break. I guess we could get some clues in Globex tonight. We'll certainly get some clues by the cash open on Tuesday. You know, we have this funky Globex trade that begins trading at 6 tonight. And I'm pretty sure it continues through noon tomorrow. And of course, there'll be 12 people trading that. I will not be one of those 12. Let's go back to the daily time frame. And here's the daily. So you can see we're between these two levels. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen here. And I don't think anyone else does either. I do think that we're coming up in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to have some incredible trading. I think that these inflection points when reached will provide well-defined opportunity, whether you're bullish or you're bearish. And right now, we're in limbo. There's really nothing to hang your hat on here. Okay, let's look at... I'll come back to this because it's important. And I show this chart every week in the report because it can be helpful at times. Right now, it's not particularly helpful. There's nothing bell ringing about this at this point in time. This is breadth, NYSE advancing minus declining issues. The red is NYSE advancing issue 10 period moving average, in this case 10-day moving average of advancing issues. Green is 5-day moving average, 5 period moving average advancing issues. And of course, the histogram is breadth, NYSE advancing minus declining issues. It can be helpful at times. Right now, it's not. This is interesting. Of all the stuff that I look at, and I don't look at a whole lot of stuff, this is the most bullish picture. It shows volatility as measured by VIX declining. And if this continues to decline, the stock market is probably going to rally, and it could rally very strongly. This is still a relatively elevated state of VIX. Now, recently, obviously, and in particular in this move down, we've been higher. But historically, this is a relatively elevated level of VIX. So there's a lot of fuel from this perspective for this market to move higher immediately. Now, if Globex opens down tonight and it's down 60 handles in Globex trade at the cash open on Monday, VIX will pop up. But keep an eye on VIX. If it is declining, this could be a very, very bullish situation that we're seeing. Guys, I hope you found this helpful. I hope you enjoy the rest of your long weekend, those of you that live in the U.S. And our European friends. We will see you again on, I'll have reports out. I'm taking a few days off next week, so there will not be a live room until probably at least Thursday, but I will have my computer with me. I will be doing updates. So you guys take care. Have a great weekend.